In this video I will prep some meat and fish we bought during our last grocery trip, trying to make 134 meals out of those groceries. I will also make a salad, bake croutons and more, so let's start. Hi everyone, my name is Irene and I live in Florida with my husband Mike. We are pretty frugal people, we rarely go eating out and always eat at home homemade food. So I try to keep my freezer full with meat and other food we can quickly defrost and eat for a dinner on a busy night. This video is not about prepping a complete meal, it's more like a fill your freezer type of a video. Anyway, let's see how I will process all the groceries we bought to get 134 dinners. We will start with the pork we bought. While I will be prepping the rest of the meals, this pork will bake in the oven. Then I plan to divide this whole piece into smaller chunks and will use in different meals. This half pork loin can be easily stretched into at least 12 meals or 6 dinners for the two of us. To give this meat some flavor, I used regular salt, ground black pepper and some leftover sauces I had in the fridge. Today I had leftover ketchup, teriyaki sauce and some soy sauce. So I mixed up all these leftovers with some water and covered the meat with this sauce from all sides. As you can see, I put the meat into the oven as is. I don't cut off the fat. This fat will easily fall off the meat when it will be baked, but while the meat will be baking, the fat will melt and will add more flavor to the sauce. So I cover the meat with the lid and place it into the oven at 350 Fahrenheit for about 2 hours. After about 1 hour and a half, I will poke the meat with a knife to check if the juices are clean and there is no blood in the meat. And also will remove the lid so the meat can brown up a little bit on top. While the meat is baking, I will make croutons from this $1 bread we bought at Walmart. But first I want to store properly the tortillas we bought. I store these tortillas in the fridge and they can stay there for at least 1 month or even more. But over the time the tortillas can stick to each other and it will be hard to divide them without damaging them. So to avoid this, I will put pieces of parchment paper between each tortilla. These pieces of parchment paper I store in the baking drawer and reuse. Be frugal, don't throw away the items that can be easily reused again and again. Next is bread I will prep for future Cuban sandwiches. I will cut the bread into pieces and will store in the plastic bags in the fridge. The smaller pieces are future sandwiches for me and the bigger ones are for Mike. Prepping the sandwiches, I will use ham, cheese, fried onions, dill pickles and also serve these sandwiches with some kind of salad, so such bread pieces are enough for us. And the rest of the bread I will cut into cubes, will add salt, some spices and oil and will make croutons. As spices I use lemon pepper and ground black pepper. I eyeball everything, add to taste and not have some specific measurements. But you can start with 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of lemon pepper and a half teaspoon of ground black pepper, mixed and taste. If you want, adjust the measurements. Sprinkle with oil and stir well so the oil will cover well all the bread cubes and the spices will distribute evenly. Next in the list are carrots. The old carrots from Aldi I had in the fridge I will shred on a cheese grater and will freeze it to use in soups later. The 5-pound bag of carrots we bought at Bravo I already prepped to shred on a mandolin to prep the Korean-style carrot salad. I already showed this recipe in one of my previous videos, so we'll skip the shredding part and we'll continue with the final step. So this salad calls for 5 pounds of carrots and 2 heads of peeled garlic. I peeled 5 heads of garlic and 2 of the heads I will mince right into the carrots and the rest of the cloves I will mince into the freezer container I used to store garlic in the freezer. It sits great in the freezer for several months and I can get several spoons of frozen garlic and store it in the smaller container in the fridge. This way the garlic doesn't go bad and doesn't lose its juices. To the carrots I add all the spices, salt, oil, white vinegar and mix well. The recipe you can find in one of the previous meal prep videos. Click the link in the description box below. Store this salad in the fridge in an airtight container. And here is the meat after 2 hours in the oven. I will cut it into 5 pieces and will refrigerate in a container, and then part of this meat I will freeze. Meanwhile, I cook 6 eggs on the stovetop to use later in the burritos. These are the last old eggs I had in the fridge, so I will use them today to free some space for the new eggs. Well, in total I need to use up 8 eggs, so these 6 will go with the burritos and the last 2 eggs I will add to the penne pasta together with cubed chicken, frozen veggies and some spices. This will be our quick dinner tonight. I still have the second portion of the croutons in the oven, so we'll continue with the second chunk of a pork and chicken. Pork I will cut into pieces and will make schnitzels. I also cut off the fat around the schnitzels. This way, when you fry the meat, it does not rise on the edges from the fact that the fat shrinks, so the schnitzels will be flat. I also sprinkle the schnitzels with salt and pepper so they will marinate well, and when I will defrost them, I will not spend time seasoning them. And here are the schnitzels divided into 2 portions. Each bag has about 8 schnitzels, or 4 dinners for the 2 of us. Next goes the chicken. In this bowl I have about 5 pounds of chicken, and I decided to cut about 1 pound into pretty small pieces to prep the peanut chicken later. 4 small pieces of the chicken I will prep to bake later in the air fryer, and the rest of the meat I will grind in a food processor and will freeze in a 1 pound bags. So here on the scale I measure 1 pound of chicken for the peanut chicken and continue cutting the meat for the future ground chicken meat. Of course, you can buy an already prepped ground meat, but normally the store-bought ground meat has certain percent of fat in it, and so I prefer to buy meat, wash it, cut off the fat, small bones and gristles, and grind the meat by myself. This food processor is pretty cheap, like around $60, but it does the job very well and I use it constantly for around 3 years now. Here is the chicken I have prepped, and now you can see all the food I prepped to freeze. These carrots I already had in the freezer for a couple of hours. They will last for at least 4-6 weeks, as I will use them mostly to prep soups. Here are the pork schnitzels, cooked chicken and 4 chicken schnitzels. I did 3 1-pound bags of ground meat and small leftover bag of ground chicken I will use to make small meatballs for soup. This is the pork I baked. I will divide it later, and part of the baked meat I will freeze for later use, and the rest of the meat I will use for burritos, in homemade pizza, to prep stir-fried rice and other meals. I cooked eggs for the burritos, and this is the frozen garlic. This is the bread for Cuban sandwiches, and this IKEA container fits croutons from 2 loaves of walnut French bread. I plan to use these croutons in salads and also to serve with soups. Well, such croutons is also a good snack, and the best thing, they don't have any additives and strange spices. Here is the carrot salad. It can be served as is, or you can use these carrots as a base and add them to the rice, beans, or even to pasta. Make some salads with these carrots, like mixed carrots with shredded cheese, cooked chicken, corn, and croutons. As a dressing, you can use mayo or a sour cream. And finally, if you watched our last grocery shopping video, you know we didn't buy salmon the same day, so went back to the store next morning. And this salmon I will divide into portions and freeze. So we have here 3 bags with 4 steak halves each, 1 bag with 6 steak halves, 3 bags with salmon cuts for soups, and 1 bag with salmon to make a salted salmon later. I also have 1 pound of salmon in this bowl, and this fish I will salt today, refrigerate, and in 24 hours we'll have a delicious salted salmon you can use in sandwiches or salads or serve in canapés if you want to go fancy. This is the salted salmon after 24 hours in the fridge. It should be pat dried with paper towels. In my case, I use napkins. Then the fish is ready to eat. Just cut it into thin slices and serve. So let's make some calculations. How much one serving will cost us? We spent $19 on pork, $11.78 on chicken, and $38.58 on salmon. The total is $70. Then $4.49 we paid for 5-pound bag of carrots, $1.99 for garlic, and $3 for Walmart French bread. It's $9.48 in total. I assume everyone already has at home oil, vinegar, salt and pepper. In total, I prepped today 134 dinners. I count here only the pieces of meat and fish I got today, so the meat will be served together with some side dishes and salads, as well as salmon steaks. Salmon cuts will be used to prep 3 soups, and normally one soup yields 10 servings or 30 servings in total. So if I will add about $20 to buy some staples like rice and pasta, as well as some veggies to go as a side dish with the meat and fish, I will get $100. Dividing $100 by 134 servings, I get 75 cents per serving. That's pretty cheap, and 134 servings for our family of 2 is 1 month of lunches and dinners. I don't count here the breakfast, but anyway, $100 per month on lunches and dinners, it's a great deal. Think how much would you spend eating out this whole month. I bet it's way more than $100. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and I will see you soon. Be wise with your money and do more with less. Bye!